Welcome to Body Buddies, home of the Power Foods lifestyle. Take it one meal, one workout, one day at a time. And now, here's the founder of Body Buddies, Kristy Jo.
Welcome back to another podcast episode from Body Buddies. This is number 165, Take Off the Guilt Goggles with Amanda Barker. In case we have not met before, my name is Kristy Jo. I am a mind and body strategist. I'm a nutritionist. I am a trainer. And Body Buddies is an online digital company that helps you learn and apply nutrition and fitness strategy to help you in whatever goal, whatever body, whatever you are trying to do to improve your health. You will learn more about the way your body works, the way your mind works, the way it all comes together to power your life here at Body Buddies, and I'm so happy to be a facilitator of your learning journey. You can find me on Facebook, where I do a lot of Facebook Live, so be sure to turn those notifications on over at Body Buddies, and be sure to join our free Facebook group, Power Foods Lifestyle Champions. You can learn more about Power Foods Lifestyle at powerfoodslifestyle.com. You're going to learn about nutrient pairing, about timing of nutrient absorption, the appropriate amounts of macronutrients we should be having, the way that we could, if we need to go gluten-free, we don't have to, or what food sensitivities do we need to detox our bodies, what's the appropriate number of vegetables to be eating, is fruit good or bad? All of these answers and more are there for you. The answers are waiting. I do have answers, and I'm so excited you are here. So in this interview with Amanda Barker, we're going to talk about the thing I hear most frequently, which is this mommy guilt. All of you mothers who feel guilty whenever putting time into fitness and your health, and you feel like you're doing your family and your children a disservice by putting yourself as a priority, I need you to listen up. I've coached so many of you, and it's a game changer when you learn how to shift your perspective into thinking that this is a bad thing, into thinking this is the most optimal thing you can be doing. And of course, it's about finding principles and insights that help you in your unique family situation. So here, let me tell you a little bit about Amanda. She is the founder of HalfTee, which is a layering company, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about it in the episode, including giving you a 20% off discount for the next week once this is live. So it does expire September 15th, 2017. So hopefully you're getting to this in time. If not, it's still worth checking out. I own multiple HalfTees. That's actually how I found it and got to know Amanda. She's incredible. You're going to fall in love with her. She's kick butt. She's just so real. I love it. And she's a business owner, but not only that, you guys, she's a mother of 8 children. She keeps herself in shape. She has very, very good boundaries. She's going to share with you what it really takes to make this happen. So some of those insights she's going to share, along with a ton others, is how she incorporates a variety of fitness activities into her life, her morning routine that powers up her day, parenting tips for how she manages 8 children and a business, how she sets boundaries for workout time, when she needs to do a gut check and take off the guilt goggles, and more about her company. Just a lot of other great insights. So I think you're in for some learning, some perspective. You might get some ideas to apply in your own family. Definitely share this with a friend if you think this is going to benefit them. Give them some perspective as well. All of us women, we got to stick together. Whether we have children or not, we're still women. We still think in similar ways. And so we are in this together. Let's help each other out. Let's do better. Let's eat more strategically. Let's work out. Let's feel great and go and help this world be a better place. That's what it's about. That's why we power our bodies, so we can live better lives, get our own struggles out of the way so we can go be of value and service. So excited to introduce Amanda to you. We're going to dive right in with her answer to my question, what does it mean to power your body?
I just feel like it starts with your body. If you have a healthy body, you can do so much more in every single day. So I don't think we give our bodies enough credit as far as, our accomplishments every day. And when we take care of our body, we can get up, we can get, we're ready to get going in the morning, and it feels good, it is good, and your tools, are what make it happen, and your body is your greatest tool, is what I think.
Oh, absolutely. And with your business, with your experience as a mother, certainly you've been able to probably test and try that and know of its value. So why don't you give our audience a little bit of background about your family as well as the business you run, so they understand this busy, awesome woman makes health a priority with so much going on.
Yeah, well, some would, classify me as just a little crazy, but that's okay too. Yeah, well, I started, my whole life has been so much around athletics and sports and working out, exercising. I come from a fanatic athletic father and a passionate musician. So in our home, if we wanted to play sports, we had to sing in the school choirs, and so I was very blessed to be raised well-rounded and to gain a lot of perspective in a lot of different areas, and that's really blessed me throughout my life, especially as I started raising kids. But what's really stayed true is just that desire to want to keep my body healthy and strong. So I played collegiate basketball, which obviously helped in developing my strength, my endurance, my excitement to sweat a lot.
Sure.
And then as it transferred over, I got married just right out after my senior year, wrapping up my senior year at BYU. And 2 years later, we had our first baby. And what I noticed is that she's 15 now. So 15 years ago, it was still pretty rare to work out 100% as if nothing had changed. And, I just remember going to the doctor and telling him how I was working out, what I was doing. I played basketball till I was probably, 6 or 7 months along. And I realized that I had to kind of stop disclosing what I involved myself in while I was
They weren't a fan of that?
No, not a big fan. But, I can see his perspective was good. But I guess it would have been different if I was picking up, playing pickup ball with a bunch of bored, men that, are still glorifying in their glory days. But, church ball, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that kind. It was still very organized, and we all had played a lot. And so it wasn't as dangerous as it sounds, because some people would be like, that is just plain ignorant. But I did continue to exercise throughout each of my pregnancies, and now I've got 8 babies, and we've, throughout each of those pregnancies, I just was trying to stay so consistent with exercise and my nutrition, and then after the baby, I really just tried to get back in the saddle, and even, after a week, I would try to do some stretching, and then after a couple weeks, I was walking, and just trying to let my body know that, yeah, I know you've done hard things, but we still have got to stay healthy and strong. And it just blows my mind how fast you can lose your fitness level, even, even in a couple weeks. So I really try to stay focused on that. And then, of course, you add a new baby into your schedule, and so things have got to shift a bit. And then adding a business into it. So you mentioned that you want me to talk about the company. I started a company about, it's 8 years ago. It's a layering company. It's called HalfTee. And we just started out of my basement, and it's, slowly in the last 8 years has really turned into be a great layering piece for women that allows women to layer and get the modest coverage if that's what they're looking for, or get, extending your wardrobe with just half of a shirt basically, and it adds some sleeves or some neck coverage or whatever. So that's what HalfTee is just providing women an alternative way to layer without all the extra heat and bunching. You're in the bathroom at work and you've got a dress on, you've got your full length tee on, and you're in the bathroom yanking it down, trying to figure out how to keep it in place. So trying to eliminate those fusses that we all have to deal with every day, and simplify just getting dressed in the morning. So started that, about 8 years ago. Since then, I've had 4 more babies, and it's a juggle. It's a real juggle to try to keep family and work and exercise and serving in your community, all those sort of things in check and in balance, and making sure that all parts of your life are working well together.
Yeah. So that overview is incredible, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have jaws dropped saying, how does she do it? So I'm going to want to dive into that a little bit more and maybe extract what it really looks like on a day-by-day basis, and realizing, I'm sure, I mean, you tell me if there's a little bit of shifting all the time. It's not like there's ever a consistent, this is how I do it, and I don't ever deviate from it.
Right.
So let's go into, like, the last year of your life. How old is your youngest right now?
So the baby is going to be 3. So the last year has felt like hopscotch year because I haven't been pregnant. I wasn't nursing. So for the last 16 years, 17 years, I guess, because Charlie was 16 in October. I've been pregnant or nursing for a really long time. So the last year was kind of magical. I felt like, and my body was happy too. It was like, I'm finally human again. Like, you don't have anything sucking anything away from me right now. And it was fun to watch it. It's a little bit hard because, I'm older too. I turned 40 this year. So it didn't transform back to how it has over the, after each baby. But it has been fun just to watch it come back and say, here you are again, and to just have your body back without some other life form growing from it. So,
right. What has that looked like? What's your fitness routine like in the past year?
So I work 5 to 6 days a week. It just depends. Summer is really hard. That's for me and kids in school and summer. That's where I really shift as far as needing to be a little bit more flexible, because now that I've got older kids, when they were younger, even when summer hit, they were still going to bed decent between 9 and 10. But now that you've got older kids, they want to stay out later and blah, blah, blah. So I had to be quite a bit more flexible with myself throughout the summer, knowing that I can't wake up at 5:30 when I've gone to bed at 11:30 because, Kristy, I think that we really undermine the value of sleep. I don't think we need as much sleep as we dream about, but I do think we probably need more sleep than we respect. So I really try hard to get at least, my goal is 7 hours every night. It typically is a little less than that, but that's my goal. If I can get 8, then I feel like I am like a rock star. But I really try to value being in bed, taking a break, letting my body rest and sleep. So in the summer, that's when it kind of shifted. Now school's back in, and it's fantastic. So now I'm just back up really early. I believe in going to bed early, and I believe in waking up early. So I wake up about 5:30, and that's kind of my me time. I tell my kids, you don't get to even talk to me till 7, because that's where I do reading and I study and I work out, and I do me stuff. And then about 7, between 7 and 7:15, that's when I wrapped up with that time. And then I'm ready for school to start. And then we've got, 7 kids to get off to school and dressed. And I'm a big fan. A lot of people, this might be something too that is interesting, but I really, when we wake up, we get ready. I don't love waiting until I have to leave out the door to get my kiddos ready. I find that it requires a tons more stress when it's like, oh my gosh, we got to be somewhere at 10 and I still haven't gotten anyone dressed. So when we wake up, we get ready. Even kids that aren't going to school, we just get up and get going, and we're ready, so that we're ready for whatever, phone call comes in and says, hey, we got to be, so-and-so needs to be to school early, you're carpooling, can you get them there early? But mornings are mornings are my time, and that's typically when I work out. I think the variety is super important, especially when you have to work out by yourself. I think that, you're really blessed if you have somebody that wants to wake up with you every day at 5:30 and work out. But for the most part, it's self-motivation, and it's getting ourselves up to put our running shoes on, or it's getting, hey, that's my dog, sorry. Or it's getting, to the gym or however. So I try to keep a lot of variety. I run a couple times a week. I'm still super fortunate to be able to play basketball a couple times a week with a bunch of women that we all went to college together. It's amazing. I'm sure we don't look on the outside as amazing as we feel when we're still all playing because we're all old, but we still all feel like we're darn tootin' rock stars.
That's great.
And we're gonna live in that happy land until, we start blowing out some knees or whatever. But
well,
anyway,
how important for women to get together and to have that time. That's
it really is fantastic.
That camaraderie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As long as we can keep our we were talking, sometimes we still have quite a bit of competitiveness in our little bodies, and it just is probably time to let that go and just recognize we're there to play and have fun, right? So as long as we can still keep at bay and remember we're all old and we're not going for like the high school championship or the NCAA bid, but it's a fantastic way to get together, and we really, 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 all the kids come, so it's literally like a circus with kids running in and out, and
that's great.
But it's fun. It's fantastic. So you've got to be creative and consistent. I go play basketball on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, and I do not allow anything to be scheduled during that time. And I think that is another thing that is so crucial to keeping up with your body and working out and exercise, is that you have to plan and you have to respect that time. Just like I tell my kids, you know what, you can talk to me after, 7:15. I don't remember what I said before, but between 7 and 7:15.
Yeah.
You can't talk to me until I'm ready to, till I've, worked out. So whether I'm running or I'm doing an at-home video, a lot of times I'll do an at-home video too, so that I don't waste the time, the travel time to get to the gym or whatever. So, I mean, that saves you a good 20 minutes. That's a decent, 20 minutes alone is a great little workout.
Very valuable.
If that's all you've got, So, anyway, just respecting that time that you've set aside to be your time to work out, as long as it's respectful to, what you need to get done in the day, too. So I don't know if we need to be working out for 2.5 hours every day and, justify that as well-valued time. But I just think, an hour every day is absolutely doable if you stay consistent and you respect it and not allow other people to, creep in on that time.
Well, and what I'm hearing is about this boundary setting with your kids.
Yes.
Where did you learn that from, or has that just been naturally what hit you? Was that the way you were raised? I mean, where did that come from?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that I think honestly, I had to really learn it when I started a company, because even with a company, especially since we ran it out of my home for 5 years, I had to learn how to set boundaries. I had to block out time. So even, in your home, it makes it a lot easier for a company to just be in every, niche and cranny. I mean, I was having babies and I had people in my house the next day. I was upstairs. They were yelling up the stairs saying, hey, how do you want to handle this shipment? Or did you, So, I mean, when it's in your home, the boundaries are quite a lot more faded. But just with trying to keep everything in harmony and working together with a family and with work and with other things, I learned very quickly that I had to chunk my time. And so if that means from 11 to 4, that is strictly HalfTee time, then then I have to respect that. And it's hard when you work for yourself, because your family, your friends is like, hey, well, you own your own company. What the heck? Why can't you come out to lunch with us today? Or, hey, I called you. Why didn't you answer your phone? You never answer your phone. And it's hilarious, because if they were in a classroom teaching a class, or if they were at what they quote unquote a real job, they wouldn't even try to call, during work hours. But it's, it's just setting those boundaries and being respectful, especially starting with yourself, because a lot of times others won't respect it unless you do. So I think that's my block. That's my hour. I know I want to work out for an hour every day, and teaching your children to respect that. A lot of times I'll be working out. It was funny, last week or 2 weeks ago, I have a sweet set of stairs just right down from my house, and so we'll run stairs once a week, and my kids all wanted to go, and that was totally fine, but I had to set parameters and say, hey, you can come, I need you to be positive. You're not going to whine when you get tired. And if you get tired, you're going to have to walk yourself home because I'm not going to walk you home. So you cool with that? Because they're like, okay. Anyways, they came, they worked out. They did like 15 sets of stairs with me.
Wow.
My little 6-year-old was doing all the push-ups with me because we take a break and we do abs and push-ups and lunges. Anyways, I love having my children see me do great things, because then it communicates to them that mom does it. It's not a private thing. I read in front of my kids. I'm a big fan of reading the scriptures. And so I want my kids to see that, just so they can see me doing the good things too. And that it's not just about, oh, mom's going running. She doesn't want anything, us to have anything to do with that. And that's just a mom thing. It's really not. I want them to be involved if they want to be, as long as they cooperate within my boundaries.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a great thing. So.
But that communication that's happening and you knowing what you want, I get the feeling from you talking and having coached so many different women, there's just a difference in that confidence of, I am the mom. I set the boundaries. I set the rules. This is how we run it, versus when we're kind of wishy-washy, we kind of let the kids make the choices. And, I think a lot of people are probably learning from this. How do you get over the worry that others won't like the boundaries you have set? Because there's always an emotional response, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, it's hard. And I think what it really comes down to is just women naturally are guilty. We're a guilty species. It's very easy to make us feel guilty. It's very easy to make us question why we are doing what we're doing, and is that the best choice, or is it selfish? Are you being superficial? All those sort of things. We're great. We're a great target for those sort of things, and that's really, I've really had to do a lot of gut checks, because I'll be honest, I'm not a huge woman's lib. I had to feel like I had to get out and change the world and get a job and start a company. I was really happy, and I still am very happy with, being a mom. And I feel like there is a fantastic job and responsibility, and there is a wonderful opportunity to raise these babies. I just felt impressed that I was supposed to start this company. And so I've, followed that impression and that prompting, and everything has worked out. But I've really, really struggled with that mom guilt. And I've really struggled with, I hope that I'm not portraying something different than how I believe. And so that's why I also wanted to really make clear boundaries with work and with family, so that I didn't always feel like I was being pulled to go, work 60 hours a week and even 40 hours a week. And there are weeks that you have to work more and less. But that mom guilt is real, and that woman guilt is real. And we will always, as a species, need to really look in the mirror and do a gut check. And I have to do it on a regular basis. It's funny, especially when you work with men, and they don't mean to, but when a man wakes up, especially that's part of a family, his sole responsibility is to get up, get dressed, go to work. And
right.
Life will kind of handle itself in the home because he's got, a wife or whatever. And then a woman wakes up and she's got to get she's got to get ready, she's got to get the kids, she's got to make sure the nanny knows what's doing, have the daycare set up, and then she's got to make sure that they know what the schedule is after school and who got their chores done, who didn't get their chores done, who needs to be where, if I am late at work, how am I going to handle that? At 1 o'clock, okay, I'm going really fast, but that's how our brains are working, right? Like, it's fun. Am I really going to get home by 4 so that so-and-so can get to football practice if he doesn't get to football, So that's how our brains are working. When my husband's brain, and maybe I should just talk about him, and he's a wonderful husband, and he's probably 10 times better than so many other husbands out there. But he's like, I got to go to work. I'll come home. What's going on tonight? Oh, okay. And he's happy to help. But he hasn't thought about the 900 steps that have got to be done so that I can say, oh yeah, throw him in the car. That'd be great. He doesn't realize I just spent 3 hours trying to make sure that anyways. Right. So there's just so many things going in our heads, and it's a wonderful thing that we get to do them, but it's also something that we have got to keep in check and recognize, and just to support ourselves in it, and be kind to ourselves, and try not to let those comments like, oh, like, you know, I get comments all the time, oh, you start to work at 11, huh? And I was like, no, and I always want to say, no, actually I got up at 5:30, and I literally have had my running shoes on for the last 6 hours. So if you want to compare who's working and who's not working, that's fine. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about it. But I've really had to hold my tongue, and that's all pride, and just say, yeah, those are my hours, and you know, that's how it works for me. So we just need to be kind to ourselves and respect all that we do as women, and as mothers, and as women without children that are, you know, contributing and working out there in the workforce, and really making an incredible environment. Because, you know, it's funny, I had the privilege of serving on a budget committee in Provo, here where I live. And then I had the privilege of just going and listening to a speaker. I can't even, and this is terrible, but I can't remember. She's a Utah senator, one of the first female Utah senators ever. And listening to her speak and how important it is to have women involved in government. And I had never thought about it. And to have women involved in the workforce, because 80% of all purchases made across the board are made or determined by women. And then on a governmental stand, that almost equal to that percentage is it affects women. So whatever's going through the government, and whatever we're passing off, whatever bills are going, or, you know, whatever we're voting on, typically comes back and affects the woman at the very most. And she said it's so important to have women voices making these decisions for us, because we're the ones thinking about, you know, how is that going to affect my child in school? How is that going to affect my child here? You know, or how is that going to affect me going to try to get back into the workforce? You know, ... So it was a very interesting perspective. So we are doing wonderful things as women. We deserve to have time for ourselves. I think that we need to make sure that we keep boundaries on that, and make sure that we're respectful of that time that we give to ourselves, because, you know, I think some of us get a little excessive on that as well, when we start to, you know, talk about, oh, I need time for myself. I think that all needs to be kept in check as well. But just take off the guilty glasses, put on the boundary ones, and, you know, look at yourself in the mirror every day, and really look inside, and make sure, not every day, but, you know, every couple weeks, and really say, okay, you know, is the way I'm spending my time and allocating my time, is that really where I need it to be? And is that in 5 years, I always have a 24-hour rule. If I'm mad, I never confront anybody until after 24 hours, because then that allows me to sift through, to make sure I'm really mad for the right reasons, or if it's something that I really need to communicate about it. But then I also have like it's a huge jump, but a 5-year perspective. And I just think, you know what, is this going to matter in 5 years? If I don't, you know, and a lot of the choices we make, especially for me as a mother, the choices and the way I spend my time is going to matter in 5 years. And so I really have to be, you know, I have to be a little bit selfish with it, and make sure that I'm spending it wisely, and putting it in, you know, investing it in places that the return, there we go, business talk, the return is going to be what I want to see. So
that's beautiful.
It's a lot. I just talked a lot.
Yeah, you know what? It's incredible, and you talked on a few points that I just kind of want to summarize for our listeners. Number one being about setting those boundaries, not just with children, but even possibly with friends, looking at that, looking at work, looking at anything we're involved in, and being able to specifically say when, how, you know, contact in the social media world. That's something that I think we all have to pay attention to as well, is how accessible are we, and do we have boundaries set there? So you made some powerful comments on that. The importance of taking off the guilty glasses. I love that. because there is certainly balance in this of not just give, because certainly you can't just serve from an empty cup if you are not taking care of yourself. And that's so easy for us all to talk about, and I'm sure every single person listening to this, including both you and I, it's a constant juggling act.
Yes,
and so
it is.
just being aware and keep having the conversation with yourself. And, you know, that's why we do podcast interviews like this and share the perspective. It's insightful. It's helpful. It makes us think, give us ideas that we may have never considered before. But then also the variety. I love that you brought that up with the fitness, because I know people get bored. And you have to, I've heard someone say once, it's finding your soulmate workout and finding what really gets you going, what excites you, what pushes you. And I think the hard thing for a lot of our listeners, because the first 3 years of my doing the Body Buddies podcast, I was very much an aesthetics coach. I coached bodybuilders. And so the talk was all about achieving the, ideal body for a stage. But shifting now into this very functional lifestyle, which allows us to give more, serve more, be more, that's a different mindset. And so I appreciate the insights that you shared on what that balance looks like and being able to have fun and change it up, but keeping the consistency going. So you talked about a lot of amazing things. I would love to talk about your company for a minute before we close here, because you mentioned about, the HalfTees, and I'll tell our listeners I have several HalfTees. And when I found out about the HalfTees, I was super stoked, because I had a wedding, my little sister's wedding I went to probably about, 4 years ago. And it was a pretty tight dress, and I needed a layering piece. But the bunchiness around my waist was so yucky, and I took a pair of scissors and I just chopped off right underneath the chest area, and that was how I did it. And so when I found out that there was an actually beautifully designed tee that's reversible, I love the high versus the lower neckline, with all different sorts of sleeves, and the band keeps it in place. There's no yanking, no tugging. Like, that for me was gold. And so for all of our listeners, I'm just telling you, this has changed. It's revolutionizing the layering industry. So, Amanda, you have a special offer for our listeners today, don't you?
Yes, I do, and thank you for that. There's nothing. I can't say anything better than a customer. So, you said everything that needed to be said. I'm very glad that you have some, and they really are. They're just as silly, as great as they are. They're just the silliest little things that make the most sense. And isn't it interesting that that's typically how life is? The most practical, sometimes silly, sometimes simple, whatever, are the things that we're like, oh my gosh, what have I been? How have I lived without these? Yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah, I have, my little boy came out. I was at meetings on Sunday, one Sunday, and I came home, and he walked up the stairs, and he was probably 4 or 5, and he had this Hanes shirt that I had seen that he had totally cut. And I was like, what in the heck are you doing? And he goes, Mom, it's my HalfTee.
Oh, my God.
It was so cute.
How
Anyways,
cute is that?
Everybody wanted to get in on the action. But, yes, we do have a promo code. So it's just Body Buddy 20. So BODYBUDDIES 20, Body Buddies. And that will give you 20% off site-wide, and that will last for a week. Well, I'll set it up, Kristy. We can talk. Maybe you can give me a heads up when this goes live. But once this podcast is live, we'll set it up for that day, and it will extend for a week. So get on there.
Awesome.
And, our best sellers are the tanks, the boyfriend sleeves, and the basics. Every woman, it's like underwear. I just don't think I just don't know how you live without a couple of them in your closet just for those, and then you'll get one, and then you'll be like, holy moly, I need more than one. But that's where I would start, just a good old white basic or a tank, and give it a go. I know you'll love it.
Well, we so appreciate you taking the time out of your awesomely scheduled, boundary-filled day and to share and to inspire and to know, our listeners will not only be listening now, but maybe even years in the future, and that you can continue inspiring people. So we're just grateful for that. So we'll have all of Amanda and HalfTee's information linked up in the show notes. So if you guys are listening on your smartphone, just tap your screen and that'll pop up the show notes. You can find all the URLs there, or just go find them. I believe you're on Facebook and Instagram. Is that right, Amanda?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. HalfTee.com would be our website, and that would be the best place to go shop. And then, yes, we do have a Facebook page, HalfTee Layering Fashion, and then our Instagram is just simple HalfTee.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. You can learn more about Body Buddies and Power Foods Lifestyle by going to www.body-buddies.com, BODY-BUDDIES.com, and powerfoodslifestyle.com. That's www.POWERFOODS-lifestyle.com.
Information in this episode is provided for informational purposes and is not meant to substitute the advice provided by your own physician or other medical professional. Information and statements regarding dietary supplements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.